Hello, everybody, and welcome to Riftbound Ramblings. I'm your host, Barrett, and today we've finally made it, everybody. We are at the last video of playing catch up with the large, massive card reveal dump they gave us for the first set of Riftbound Origins. And so today we get to talk about the order domain, and I'm going to do my best to not be super biased here because I do think the order domain is one of my favorites, and I'm excited to tell you all and show you all these cards as to why it's one of my favorite. So without further ado, let's dive in. Kicking things off, we've got the Cruel Patron, which is a 4 energy, 6 might Noxus unit that says, as an additional cost to play me, kill a friendly unit. Now, if you've played the Victor demo experience or the trial deck, you know that obviously the idea here is that you just kill off one of your little token recruits so that you can get this very over-mighted unit for only 4 energy. And honestly, after playing with them, like I didn't think I was gonna like units or cards like this, but it's honestly fine for what the Victor deck is specifically trying to do. But for anybody else, I don't really know how much more it's gonna see play. So kind of middle of the road. I don't know if this is going to make the final cut even for Victor decks, just because you might want to be doing other things with your units, just like, I don't know, keeping it on the board and playing a different unit. But I think it's fine. It does what the trial deck wants to do, and it feels okay. In a similar sense, we've got Cull the Weak. We've got the 2 energy, 1 power spell that says each player kills one of their units. And uniquely here, this is a spell that you can pretty much only play on your turn. You must play it basically. I don't want to use the term sorcery speed, but like it doesn't have action, so like it says you can't even play this during like a showdown. But it says each player kills one of their units. Obviously, the ideal world here is that if you have no units, you can play this, and all of your opponents have to get rid of one. But they have the choice. So if they got a bunch of things, they just kill their weakest guy, and it's not really that big of a deal. It's a very, very hard card to pull off successfully, but it is technically removal. So I'll give it gold because there's also going to be a scenario where if you, again, in the Victor deck, if you just have these little recruit token guys, you can just kill off those guys, and your opponents will have to kill off something else impactful that was probably not as good. Or sorry, that is for sure probably a better card than your little mini token. So it's probably fine, but with the power cost, it also kind of, sways me not to be that great. Moving on, we've got Faithful Manufactor, which is a 3 energy, 2 might Piltover unit that says when you play me, play a 1 might recruit unit token here. So it's actually like a 3 energy, 3 might unit, but it's across 2 bodies. And multiple bodies in this game are really, really good because there are multiple battlefields to be taking over. So I think just tempo-wise, I think this card's great. It is 3 energy, so it's a little awkward, at least on curve. Unless you go first, which makes this feel even better. So I think this card's going to be very good. It really just helps you get rolling on creating and putting things on the board, and that is really important in this game. Moving on, we've got Hidden Blade, which is a 2 energy, 1 power spell that can be played as a hidden card or as an action, and it says kill a unit at a battlefield. Its controller draws 2. Now, letting your opponent draw 2 is really good. Sorry, is like bad for you. It's good for them. Drawing 2 cards in this game is very, very strong. So you would think that this card is going to be not good. You might already be thinking, wow, Barrett's going to give this a bronze rating. It's not even going to be close. But I think this is a lot better than that because this can just win you games. It is a 2 energy removal spell that kills anything at a battlefield. And because you can just play it as a hidden, which was going to be the power cost anyway that you would have had to play paid normally, it also says if your opponents are ever trying to think about attacking into your battlefields that you control, like lazily, with just like 1 unit, you just defend it. Like you just hold it, which means more points if you retain those battlefields and score at the beginning of your turn. So I actually think this card is going to be very, very good. Also, when it comes down to the end of the game, let's say you're at 7 points, but you can't win the game unless you take over all the battlefields in the same turn. This is a removal spell that if your opponents are just tapped out, or it's your they don't draw a card that has reaction based speeds to deal with your stuff, giving them 2 cards doesn't matter if it wins you the game. So I think this card's great. Moving on, we've got Soaring Scout, which is a 2 energy, 1 might Freljord bird unit that says Death Knell. When I die, you channel 1 rune exhausted. And I'll be honest, I didn't think any other domain outside of body was going to get ramp cards. And this one, because you can basically play this so early on in the game, it doesn't cost a power, it comes with a body. I think this card's really good. I see this being very similar to cards that exist in other card games. That is just like your standard, I'm a really weak unit, but I'm meant to be played early. It helps you ramp earlier on. Something as simple as this unit is going to make power costed cards feel a little better in the order domain, and it just takes this little bird. So I think it's pretty good. Moving on, we've got the Vanguard Captain. For 3 energy and 1 power, for 3 might, you get a Demacia Elite unit that says Legion, so it has to be played second or later in your turn. When you play me, play 2 1 might recruit unit tokens here. So in a similar sense, it's kind of like the other 3 energy unit that we saw, but instead of the 2 might, it only has 3 might, or this one has 3 might. But it gives you 2 different recruits, but it only works if this was the second or greater card you've played in this turn. So obviously this is like meant to be a Darius card, because Darius has the Legion effect as well, that when you would go to play this is actually only cost 2, because you're going to get the 1 free energy from the Darius. It does cost a power, but it gives you 3 bodies, and I think that's pretty good. I think this is going to be just curves out really, really well. 5 might of stuff for 3 energy, as long as you're just playing cards and playing the game, is good enough. And there's going to be other cards that synergize. Like, there's a reason. Like, Barrett, you are putting a lot of weight on any of these cards that make extra guys. And I am, because there is a lot of reasons to have multiple guys in this game, not just in the game mechanics, but also within the order domain as well. Moving on, we've got the Solari Chief, which is a 5 energy, 1 power, 4 might Mount Targon unit that says, when you play me, choose an enemy unit. If it is stunned, kill it. Otherwise, stun it, which stun means it doesn't deal combat damage this turn. So, stun is obviously the Leona mechanic from the Leona legend. So I brought her up on screen because there's a reason to be playing cards like this that do stuns on play or whatever. So obviously, like the Leona champion unit does it whenever she attacks, basically. You can stun a unit out of that battlefield that you're attacking. But Leona says whenever you stun 1 or more enemy units, you can buff a friendly unit. So put a 1 might little buff counter on a thing. You can only have 1 of those. And I think what I'm trying to get across is that the more ways that there are to stun units, cards like Solari Chief feel better because it becomes a kill spell on a 5-cost body. Oh, and then also you get the free buffs. So this is a 4 might unit, but it's not really, because when you play this, you can just buff the Solari Chief if you just stunned a thing. So I think Solari Chief is going to be pretty good. The 1 power is the only reason why I'm keeping this at Diamond. But I think the more and more things that we have in the game to help you stun, and especially if they're attached to units like this, Leona is going to be eating really good, and Solari Chief is going to feel a lot better as well. Moving on, we've got Grand Stratagem, which this is the first card I've ever seen that I think is actually spelled wrong. I don't actually think this is how you spell stratagem, but regardless, it's a 6 energy, 3 power spell that is an action timing that says give friendly units +5 might this turn. So, This is kind of what we were building up to when it comes to why playing and having multiple units that exist on your board, no matter where they are, matter. This means your little tokens that you make are actually 6 might units, which 6 might units are essentially as powerful as 6 drops. So this 6 drop spell with at least one card on the field equivalates to a 6 drop unit. And it infinitely scales based off of how many units you have. Oh, and also it can be played defensively, because it can be played as a showdown, not just you trying to win the game. And that's why this card costs 3 power to play, because this will just win you the game, or be the reason why no one can take any battlefields from you, even with your little dinky tokens. I think this card is a win condition. It feels really good to play in the Victor deck, not just in a scenario, and that's without putting it in a constructed environment. So I'm not going to give it the Challenger tier rating because I'm not sure how well it's going to go, because this is going to feel really bad in your hand in the beginning of the game to not even get to that board state. But it is an incredibly good card. I do think people are going to play this one. Moving on, we've got the Harnessed Dragon, which is an 8 energy, 2 power, 6 might Demacia Dragon unit. And it says, when you play me, kill an enemy unit. Which is just very good. It's just very good. We already talked about some other dragon synergies with cards under like the body domain that are obviously going to make this card feel a lot better. But in general, 8 energy and 2 power to kill anything. Obviously, we get that on a 2-cost spell that we saw earlier. But this comes with a 6 might body. I think it's pretty good, actually. Like, I mean, it's going to be a set 1 format. This is going to be good enough to see play. We already also saw a ramp card in order. So, like, I think this is going to be good enough to play at least like 1, maybe 2 of these in your deck to eventually get to a point where you can play a card like this and it instantly kills something on a battlefield so that even something like a dinky little token can win a battlefield. And so, yeah, I think it's pretty good. Moving on, we've got the Machine Evangelion, I don't know. It's a 5 energy, 1 power, 4 might Piltover unit that says, when I die, you get to play 3 1 might recruit unit tokens. So if you add it up, when everything is said and done, 5 energy for 7 might worth of stuff across 4 bodies. Yeah, I mean, you've already seen me give this rating to cards that make less, even with the power rating on the thing like the Legion drop one. So I think this one's very good. The fact that it's a death knell and because it gives you 3 bodies from it, there are actually going to be people that know what's coming if they kill this thing. So I think this card is just kind of scary in the idea that you might have to be the one to kill this, aka like run it into a battlefield, even if it's just going to trade, so that you can get those 3 recruits on your board, so that you can play things like the grand stratagem that we saw. So I mean, I think this card's just going to be very good. It's going to be very nice, and it's going to feel like you're going to keep your board presence even after something like this dies. Moving on, we've got the Seal of Unity. This is actually my favorite looking seal out of all the seals, and so I'm glad we saved it for last. But of course, this is the if you recycle one of your runes now, you get to continuously pay for a power later, over and over again. And of course, we already know that these are going to be quite good. But even as we've saw from the Harnessed Dragon or from the Grand Stratagem, like there are very high impact power costing cards, but there's quite a few cards that just cost 1 power, aka like the card we just talked about, the Evangel. So obviously it's going to get a challenger rating just like all the other seals, and I think it's going to feel really good to play a couple of these in your order deck. And then moving on, the most recent addition to the reveals for the Order domain is the Order Darius Champion unit. He costs 6 energy and 1 power for a 6 might Noxus Trifarian Darius Champion unit. And he says Legion, so if you play him second or later, when you play him, ready me. So this is like sideways accelerate. And he also just has a continuous ability that says other friendly units have +1 power here. So here meaning just wherever Darius is. So he doesn't want to be alone, but that also means that when you attack as a group with him, he buffs up the other guys. So that's neat. So he's good with tokens or just other units in general. And if you play him second, he gets to attack right away. And if you play him second, he's actually just like a 5-drop because of the way that Darius, the legend, works. And look at this cool little alt art, of course. This is the overnumbered version, the God King Darius skin. It looks incredibly good, even with my low-res pictures that I have here. And the big question I have here before I even give it a rating is this Darius better than the Fury Darius that you can put in your champion unit zone? And I'll be honest, I don't really know. I plan on building Darius as soon as the cards come out. I think Darius is exactly the kind of way that I want to be playing the game, and don't I don't dislike how the Fury domain looks, and I really like how the Order domain looks. So, and they're kind of sideways, right? Like the Fury Darius says when you play the second card in a turn that the Darius legend makes cheaper. This becomes a 7 might unit and it readies himself, so he can go somewhere else. So that's nice. Meanwhile, this Darius is very much proactive on the play, and he himself is going to be for 5, which is very similar to the Fury Darius, and he buffs up other things. So I'm kind of in the middle on which one I'm going to try out first. I think there's a real reason to just put both of them, obviously, in your Darius decks, and obviously there's a reason to even put character like this Darius in a Victor deck, specifically the Order one, obviously not the Fury one. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Order Darius just the diamond rating because I think it's going to be good. I just don't know how good, but I think people will play it and give it a try, of course. And that's going to be it. We finally did it, everybody. A couple of 20-minute videos, a couple of nights, and we have officially caught up with all of the cards basically on the card reveal gallery. And I can't be any more excited than I hope have all of you that are watching this video. So if you've been with me along the way on just playing catch up, just know that more news and updates video at a regular cadence will be coming out as the reveals happen for Riftbound. So if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, like, give us a comment down below. And if you were here this long, thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one.